What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the YouTube channel. Today's video, I was really curious what happens to studios that, well, I haven't really seen in a minute because, I like watching movies. I like hearing about movies. But there's just some studios I haven't heard from in a while. Well, today, we're going to find out what happened. That's right, guys. Today, we are watching the studio that went extinct. Now, this was probably one of my favorite studios because we got the Ice Age. And, the Ice Age, they were peak movies, at least for me. So without further ado, let's see what happened.
At their peak, Blue Sky Studios was competing at the
Blue Sky,
highest
that's
level
what it
of the
was.
animation industry.
Wait, they made
Every
robots
Ice Age
too?
has a great message, and I think that's what people love.
20th Century Fox and Rio 2 has said it.
They made Rio too? Wait, okay, which one were connected? I know it was, okay, so now I know it's Ice Age. It's Rio. The robot. Is it also Turbo? Is Turbo in there? Can we throw a Turbo in there? Or was that made by a different company?
It's kind of timeless.
A company with a
Dude,
billion-dollar
it was so
franchise and multiple modern classics under their belt, it didn't seem like they could fail. But through a mix
Exactly.
of greed,
Oh, they made
creative
Ori?
stagnation, and bad luck, the studio had been quietly steering itself toward collapse.
GG.
Before any of their animated films hit theaters, Blue Sky was known mostly as a behind-the-scenes studio. Throughout the late 80s and 90s, they built their reputation doing visual effects for commercials, everything from M&M's to award-winning Razor ads. Their work caught the attention of 20th Century Fox, who bought the studio in 1997 and
they
put
made
them to
Alien.
work on movies like Alien Resurrection, Fight Club, and even an Oscar-winning short called Bunny.
Club?
But as the decade came to a close, the VFX industry was hurting, and Fox was ready to cut Blue Sky loose. With constant talk of a sell-off looming, the studio knew they needed something big. But Fox producer Lori Forte had been developing an idea about a story set in a time period that hadn't been explored in a
Little do they know this
big-budget
was gonna be their
family
hidden
movie.
gem.
And while it was a relatively new medium at the time, she felt that CGI animation was the best way to tell this story. She brought the idea to Blue Sky and teamed up with
Wait, was this
animation
CGI
executive
animation or
Chris
just animation?
Meledandri. And in the year 2000, they pitched Fox a rough draft of what would become Ice Age.
Hi, I'm Ray Romano, and I'm here in the frozen tundra to give you a first look at the new movie Ice Age.
By that point, only 9 fully computer animated feature films had ever been released, but still the competition was strong. Following titles like Toy Story, Shrek, and Monsters Inc.
Oh, I
wasn't
forgot
going to be an easy feat, and on top of that, the story revolved around extinct animals most people didn't even recognize. They wanted their characters to feel accurate, but not too menacing. Manny and Diego had to look intimidating, but still have softer sides. They were pretty accurate to their real-life counterparts,
Yep,
but
with
Sid
those
is where the
characters.
studio took a lot of creative freedom. His design was based on a combination of the extinct giant ground sloth and the modern tree sloth, though he wasn't exactly either of those. Scrat was a
like, what
completely
exactly
made-up
is it?
creature, and for
Dead
the rest
ass?
of the cast,
Wait,
they
what? There's not a prehistoric squirrel that looks like that? The Ice Age. Inspired by real life. I need to see this. What? So it didn't actually exist? I mean, this is the closest we got to it now.
To match the strange world Blue Sky was creating, they wanted a cast made up of mostly comedians, bringing in names like Ray Romano, Jack Black, and Cedric the Entertainer.
what?
The studio gave them a lot of freedom.
I didn't know Jack Black was in this movie. Or the other ones, to be honest. To be fair, I watched it. By the time I was watching the first one, I watched it in like Spanish. So
In how their characters would act and sound.
I did 30 voices of possible Sid choices. I did the low voices,
I
Some
used to be
promises
able to-
are no big deal, believe me. I know.
the high voices,
I promised my first girlfriend we'd mate for life.
Looney Tune voices.
I promised my first girlfriend we'd mate for wife.
They had a clear visual blueprint,
I used to be
nearly
able to
2
sound like
decades
a
of
Sid.
animation experience, and a cast of skilled comedians, and everything came together.
dude, I did that. I thought that was like a real animal.
Ice Age released on March 15th, 2002, and it was a colossal success in every way. Not only did audiences find it charming and genuinely funny, but it felt completely fresh. Made on a budget of about $60 million, the movie went on to gross over $383 million at the box office. It didn't take itself too seriously, but it was surprisingly mature in its humor and tone. The emotional
I miss
moment
movies like that. I miss when movie would be like kind of like, it's supposed to be goofy, but have like mature shit in it. where like kids would be watching it but wouldn't understand it until they grow up. I'm like, wait, what? That's what was in the show. Nowadays, they don't really be implementing that into like not kids show, but like animation movies.
Earning praise from critics and families alike for its heartwarming story. Roger Ebert awarded the film 3 out of 4 stars.
I like the look of this movie, the way the drawings and the artistic approach gave a kind of a three-dimensional color and warmth to this world, and I also love the dialogue. I love the wit of the dialogue.
Fox had taken a gamble on Blue Sky, but greenlighting their feature-length film couldn't have been a better decision. Ice Age was an instant classic. It was safe to say Blue Sky Studios had struck gold. But while Ice Age was still in development, the concept for their next film was already taking shape. Behind the scenes, Chris
hold on,
Wedge
they were
had
dropping back-to-back bangers. We had Ice Age, and then Robots, and then Rio. Yo, they was not stopping, bro. This back-to-back bangers.
Idea for a world inhabited by robots. There wasn't a story or structure to it yet, he simply liked the concept. After the success of Ice Age though, the studio knew this would be their next project, and that robotic world began to take form. Robots was their second movie, and Blue Sky had to prove they weren't a one-trick pony. It was a robot society with characters built to reflect their social class. Lower class robots were made to look as if they were constructed from older industrial parts and scrap machinery, while upper-class robots were designed with sleek, modern, high-end technology in mind. They drew most of their inspiration from museums and junkyards, looking for old vehicle parts and appliances that could fit this vision. Having a larger budget this time, Blue Sky brought in talent like Robin Williams, Ewan McGregor, and Halle Berry. After more than 3 years of development, Robots released in March of 2005. And it was another success.
When I was born.
While it didn't quite reach the heights of Ice Age in ratings or at the box office, it still managed to gross $262 million and was the #1 movie in its opening week. At the very least, they did what they set out to do: create an interesting world with a unique aesthetic and turn a profit. Blue Sky was cementing itself as a fierce competitor in the animation industry. The following year came Ice Age 2.
Everything is melting.
Given the demand, a follow-up to their breakout hit was the obvious next step, and it delivered almost everything they could have wanted. Ice Age: The Meltdown built upon the original cast of characters and introduced new ones, who would become permanent members in the years to come. Characters like Ellie serving as both a love interest and proof that Manny wasn't the last mammoth.
But he's still lonely, you know? Still sad that he's the only mammoth left on the planet.
Until...
That is
He's a little horny, I guess.
Or the mischievous possums Crash and Eddie, who were mostly comic relief. The movie went on to earn $660 million at the box office, making it the third highest grossing film of...
Yo, I was just about to say though, didn't they kind of fall off? Or did people actually like the third and fourth movie? Or fifth? I think there's a fifth one out there now. But for me personally, my favorite was definitely the first three. The fourth, or whatever, the one that takes place with the asteroids. The fourth one was cool too. I don't know. I can remember more from the third movie and the second than the third, fourth, and fifth. Whichever the asteroid movie is, I deadass don't even remember the main problem in that movie. I think that one deadass might have fallen off. Or either I just didn't pay attention.
It beat out animated titles like Cars, Happy Feet, Over the Hedge, and Open Season by a pretty large margin too. There was even a video game released alongside it. But while Ice Age 2 was a huge commercial hit, it wasn't received as well as the original. Critics felt it had a thinner, more formulaic plot, an over-reliance on crude jokes and pop culture references, and that many of the new characters had little to offer beyond being played for laughs. While some considered it an improvement, many felt it lacked much of the charm and cleverness that made the first movie so memorable.
You know, I wasn't thinking like this.
The first Ice Age had some charm and some cuteness to it, and even made you feel a little bit endeared to the characters. This film absolutely falls flat from the get-go.
Beyond that, it shined a light on something for Blue Sky and 20th Century Fox. This made it clear that Ice Age wasn't just a one-off smash hit. it was a gold mine that could be milked for years. Sometime after the meltdown left theaters, Chris Meledandri left the company. He had been the president of 20th Century Fox Animation and served as an executive producer for Blue Sky since Ice Age 1. But in 2007, he went on to found his own studio, Illumination, and began production.
He made Illumination? And look at him now. Yo, he's a direct competitor to Disney, Pixar. Yo, Illumination got Mario. We got the Minions, the Lorax. Look at him now. I hope he got all the people that were with him in Blue Sky to come join him, man.
For Despicable Me. He played an important role for Blue Sky early on, but the studio was ready to show that their success didn't depend on any one person. Over the next few years, they'd put out movies like Horton Hears a Who, which made almost $300 million and was reviewed very well. Up to this point, they had only worked on original material, but they brought this beloved story to life, casting Jim Carrey, Steve Carell, Carol Burnett, and other big names. To this day, it's often considered one of the best Dr. Seuss adaptations among critics and fans. Then came Ice Age 3, Dawn of the Dinosaurs.
Nobody move a muscle.
This was their biggest hit yet.
I knew
the movie
it, bro.
grossed an astounding $886 million, and the movie's in the top 100 highest grossing films of all time. Once again, it introduced new fan favorite characters like Buck. However, most of the problems that plagued the second movie were even more present in Ice Age 3. More slapstick humor, more pop culture references, and a tired message about family that felt like it was recycled from the previous films.
Do you like what the movie says about the idea of the extended family?
To be fair, back then I low-key was starting to notice it, but never as like something I would point out. And to be honest, I like it was at a time where Jurassic World came out, so we had the Indominus Rex or something like that. And wait, did it? When did this one come out? Anyways, that's why every time I see the white one, I would imagine of the Indominus Rex. But this one was dead as one of my favorites, bro. This one was dead as one of my favorites.
It's always been my. That's actually, been my favorite, kind of theme through the whole thing. That was the thing that struck me most in the last film. Was like, this is really all about a family.
But clearly, none of these issues really mattered all that much. It seemed like nothing could stop the juggernaut that Ice Age was becoming. But that wasn't even going to be their only successful franchise, because 2 years later, they went on to release Rio. Rio not only introduced a vibrant new world and a cast of characters for audiences to fall in love with, it also...
Yo, she was bad. We had Anne Hathaway? Yes. Yeah, let me be in that movie too. Yo, we did need a third Rio. What happened to Rio? I don't know if the second one did as well as the first. I need to see more Rio. Quick intermission. Sorry guys, but we are so close to
400
subscribers, and I really want to be able to reach it. So I thought, if we can get to 1,000 subscribers, I will shave my head. That's right, guys. So if you guys want to see that, make sure you guys subscribe. Anyways, back to the video.
With a strong message and contagious energy, the film quickly won over viewers. It easily secured its place as one of Blue Sky's finest achievements. And the streak didn't stop there. In 2012, Ice Age 4 Continental Drift dropped into theaters with a bang. It made $877 million, just slightly below Ice Age 3. But while the box office didn't seem to take much of a hit, something had definitely changed this time around. While Ice Age 3 was a big step down from the first two, by this point it felt like the series had completely abandoned any kind of substance. Stacking the cast with celebrities like Drake and Nicki Minaj made Continental Drift feel like the biggest cash grab yet.
If I manage to get an action figure out of this whole deal, I think that I'm gonna attach it as a pendant on a chain.
They worked as fun adventure movies, but after this film, many longtime fans were beginning to lose interest. However, Blue Sky took note of this and decided to take a break from doing Ice Age films. In the next 4 years...
No! They also did Epic! Yo, they damn near... I damn near watched a bunch of movies I didn't even know was made by Blue Sky. Yo, this deadass must have been an underrated hit. I deadass thought all these movies were made from DreamWorks. I thought DreamWorks and Shrek were in the same universe. I know Ice Age and all these people weren't.
which was one of their weaker films commercially, but still
was
managed
weaker,
to turn
but
a
it was
profit.
tough.
Rio
I
2,
remember
which was
watching
a
it.
drop in quality from the first one,
There we
but
go, Rio
performed
2.
even better, and
Okay,
the Peanuts
they good.
movie, which wasn't Blue Sky's biggest, but many consider it one of their best. It was a heartwarming, faithful adaptation that reminded audiences what Blue Sky was capable of. But like all blockbuster franchises, Ice Age wasn't going to be allowed to die quietly, and in 2016, the 5th movie arrived in
so there
theaters.
is 5.
Unsurprisingly, Collision Course did nothing to reinvent the franchise. It was the same characters, the same jokes, and the same stale formula, just with new set pieces. Please, let this 5th Ice Age film be the last. What an unfunny
I'm pretty sure they're coming out with the new one this year, no? And if they are, I gotta go see it. Please let it be good. Please. I don't want it to happen to what happened to the 5th one. Please. I need a good one.
mess this has become.
And for Blue Sky Studio, who just took 3 steps forward with the solid Peanuts movie, like that movie was really good, and I had hope for their future to take 5,000 steps back.
With how big the series was, of course, people still went to see it, but considering it earned less than half of what the previous film did, it was clear that audiences had grown tired of the franchise. Not even the actors sounded excited while promoting it.
So it's very exciting to be able to get into his furry skin again.
The best thing about Blue Sky,
oh my God, I recognize some of these people. I just don't
we're
remember
making
the names.
funny movies.
This would be the last Ice Age movie from Blue Sky. The studio was slowly dwindling. After Ice Age 5, they put out Ferdinand, another adaptation of a classic story that received passable reviews and made a solid profit at the box office. On paper, if Blue Sky kept doing the bare minimum and making their money back with each film, they potentially could have kept going. They were on a hot streak for nearly a decade before things began to slow down, and maybe they could have found their way back to what made
we need
their
a
film
6th one
stand
where this kid comes back. Make him like a grown now. They meet up with the other people or something like that. You know, we need to see this kid again.
Out in the first place. But in March of 2019, things took a turn for the worse. Disney acquired 20th Century Fox, effectively bringing Blue Sky Studios under its control. Few companies had the power to challenge Disney, and considering Blue Sky wasn't even the parent company, there wasn't much they could do. They officially became a unit of Walt Disney Studios. By this point, Blue Sky was already deep into production on a film starring Will Smith and Tom Holland, slated for release later that year. It ultimately arrived after the Disney acquisition. Spies in Disguise became both a new beginning and an unexpected end for Blue Sky. On one hand, the movie ended up being one of their highest rated films to date. Many praised it for having great humor and a genuinely heartfelt message. It was some of their best work since their very first title in 2002. But on the other hand, it was unfortunately their worst box office performance yet, earning $171 million. Under Fox, it might have been a minor setback, but with Disney, which measures everything in dollars, the timing couldn't have been worse. Spies in Disguise would be the first and last Blue Sky movie under Disney. On February 9th, 2021, Disney announced that it was shutting down Blue Sky Studios in April of that year. According to the company, in light of the COVID-19 pandemic's continued economic impact on all of its businesses, it was no longer sustainable for them to run a third animation studio. Blue Sky had been working on another adaptation under Disney, but that was cancelled as a result. By June 2021, Blue Sky co-founder, director of the first Ice Age, and the voice of Scrat, Chris Wedge, posted an official farewell letter. For the past 34 years, we, like our
didn't they release like a one last animation where it was Scrat finally eating his nut or something like that? I'm pretty sure, no? Yeah, it was this one. Look at this. This was the last ever animation. We finally got to see him eat it, man. Man, this made me tear up, bro. Dead ass. This shit hit, bro. It's like one of those things where it's like satisfying when you finally get that conclusion, bro.
Single-minded characters Scrat have reached for something that at times seemed unattainable, yet time after time we've managed to get our arms around our own versions of that elusive acorn. Disney retained all of Blue Sky's film library and intellectual properties, which they quickly took advantage of in the form of the Ice Age Adventures of Buck Wild, a spin-off film that released on Disney Plus in 2022. While fans wondered if Disney could breathe new life into Ice Age, it became evident that they might mishandle the franchise just as badly or worse. And they already have a 6th film in the works titled Boiling Point. In some ways, Blue Sky was a victim of their own success. Having a powerhouse like Ice Age, what company wouldn't milk it for everything it's worth? But being forced to stretch out one series that was long past its expiration date definitely took a toll on their creativity. A combination of that, Disney's greed, and losing some of their big names all played a role in Blue Sky's decline. Meanwhile, Chris Meledandri is still leading Illumination, a company that continues to thrive commercially. The last official Blue Sky production was a short series they had been working on in the lead up to the studio's closure.
It might have been him, yo. It might have been that guy. Cause how come he got bangers? He built up the bangers, he leaves, and then his company becomes a banger. They should have kept him. He might have that golden touch.
13th, 2022, and on that same day, a video was uploaded to an unlisted YouTube channel titled The End. One final piece of animation was created by a small Blue Sky team during the studio's last days. A 30-second video that showed Scrat finally catching the acorn he had chased since the very beginning.
Yo, this shit might make me tear up, bruh. Dead ass. Shout out to Brewski, bro. Dead ass. That was a W video. I'm not gonna lie, I had a lot of memories with Blue Sky, more than I thought, honestly. This video made me realize I watched a lot of their movies too, not just Disney, not just DreamWorks, they were up there too. Like that shit hit deep, I'm not gonna lie, especially the acorn. Anyways, you guys let me know which one was your favorite Blue Sky movie in the comments below. And if you guys haven't yet, make sure you guys like and subscribe so you can join my legendary MC, aka Maximum Creed. You know what I'm saying? You can join our creed. Me and these legendary people, we're gonna create our own movie soon, trust. Anyways, that is the end of the video. And yeah, I'm gonna go cry my eyes out. Take care, everybody. Goodbye.